including milk, eggs, shellfish, and tree nuts. It applies to businesses with at least 20 locations. On Wall Street at the closing bell, stocks were mixed. The Dow Industrials jumped 203 points, a gain of nearly 0.5%. The S&P 500 lost 10 points, while the Nasdaq also lower, dropping 173. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Greg Clugston.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening, a low of 57. If you're enjoying today, you'll love tomorrow. It's a clone of today. Plentiful sunshine to go with a high temperature of 80. In fact, lots of sun the rest of the work week with highs in the upper 70s, nighttime lows in the 50s. Our next rain looks like late Sunday afternoon and evening, a 40% chance we get some showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Okay, good to have you with us tonight. Sports Talk Media Network, as we're coming to you from Birmingham, Alabama, site of SEC basketball tip-off. First day today, another day tomorrow. We've got the men and the women coming through simultaneously. So South Carolina's crew came through today. We had coaches and players, Lamont Paris, Don Staley, and their players. And we'll hear from both of the head coaches, along with the football fair tonight, another presser day at South Carolina and Clemson. Shane Beamer, Dabo Sweeney, talking about their respective teams coming off the weekend, looking ahead to the games coming up. And we'll also, of course, have Josh Harris from Darlington with us as we talk about another race in the books in the playoffs as we head towards the conclusion of this NASCAR season. Denny Hamlin getting the win in Las Vegas for his 60th win of his career. So he has safely advanced into the championship race. I think he's been in that before, but he's never won it, and he'll get his chance when they get to that in just a few more weeks. And, of course, tonight we will also be joined by former USC quarterback Perry Orth, our QB1 segment coming up at 7:05 as Perry talks about the play of the quarterbacks from over the weekend. So it is an absolutely jam-packed show. Before we get rolling, I want to thank the folks here at the Grand Bohemian Hotel in Mountain Brook, Alabama. Hadn't planned to be here to do the show, had planned to get on the road and get to our location in Atlanta, but things ran long, so I said, the heck with it. We'll hang loose here and do the show. And they were very kind, very accommodating to put me up in a little meeting room upstairs at the hotel. Beautiful hotel here in Mountain Brook, Alabama, little suburb in Birmingham. So if you come into Birmingham, you're looking for a very nice boutique hotel, part of the Marriott chain, by the way. Check this place out because it's really, really nice. Bergie, it could be a place for you and the missus to go on a second honeymoon. I would advise that you do that, and you go up and you visit Vulcan. You go up on the mountain, and Red Mountain, and visit Vulcan, and go by Legion Field and come to the Grand Bohemian and enjoy a second honeymoon.
See, I misunderstood you initially. I thought you said the Grand Bahamian, like you were down in the Bahamas. You went from Birmingham, flew down to the Bahamas, and I was really impressed. But yeah, I may have to check that out. We go to we get around the Birmingham area every now and then with regards to coastal athletics, whether it be basketball and or football. So, matter of fact, played in the Birmingham Bowl several years ago. Got paddled by East Carolina in that game. But yeah, nice city. You really understand too sort of Alabama's history with the iron industry, and you can really figure out why the Alabama-Auburn game is nicknamed the Iron Bowl. When you visit Birmingham, you kind of see the steel industry and everything around that portion of Alabama. So but good for you to stay there an extra day. I was trying to picture you in traffic in Atlanta at about 4:30 this afternoon with the with your head steaming and your engine steaming. So, smart move on your part.
Well, it was this time last year after the very same event, and I left about 2 o'clock to get to Atlanta, plenty of time. But Donald Trump was visiting Atlanta on the campaign tour the same day. And I mean, they had every road. He was heading into the northern area of Atlanta. They had every road blocked. 285 was a parking lot. All the surface roads were backed up. I could not move. I was stuck. You might recall, I think I made a panic call to you and the plumber to say, hey, you're going to have to open up because I'm not going to make it to my location in time. So I thought the better of it this time. I said, you know what? I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to rush. I'm going to find me a place to set up and do the program and be prepared and be calm and be cool and be courteous. And they were very nice to take care of me. So
that's cool.
What do you think about the USC women being ranked number 2 in the AP ranking?
Well, it's an interesting ranking for them. I think, obviously, if they were 100% healthy and ready to go, I think it's a fair ranking. I actually would not have been surprised had they been number 1, especially considering that UConn is, but Paige Beckers is no longer with them. And let's face it, watching the tournament last year, she was the reason that they dominated the NCAA tournament and dominated the Gamecocks in the finals. So, without Chloe Kitts, who evidently had surgery today and it went well, according to her dad's Twitter page, and also without Ashlyn Watkins, I mean, that's a lot of you've got to replace both defensively and offensively. I remember what Kitts did last year in the postseason. She was terrific for them. So I don't know. Number 2, lofty ranking for them. They're used to that and probably based solely on the fact of who they are, maybe not what they have lost. But, when you got Joyce Edwards and some of the players that they always seem to have, I think they'll be fine. But, number 2 might be a little high for them right now.
I'll take away those 2 inside players and then throw the absence of Phil Wiley in there as well. I mean, that's 3 major players. Yeah, imagine if all 3 of those players were playing this year for South Carolina. I'd say I don't know what UConn has, but I would have to say South Carolina hands down would be the favorite to win the national championship.
I would agree.
But they don't have them. One's transferred. The other 2 are hurt. So they don't have them, and it is what it is from that standpoint. So we'll hear from Staley. We'll hear from Lamont Paris, who's not sweating the fact that his team was picked last. He loves this team.
Saw that. Yeah.
He said this group has worked harder than any group he has, and he feels like the pieces have come together. I mean, they're really 6 – I don't know how many players they have on the roster. They're all different pieces having to come together because you've only got 3 guys back from last year, and none of the 3 played a whole lot. So it's all new people. And, of course, Michi Johnson is the glue of this team. Michi Johnson is going to be the engine that makes this team run. And if he stays healthy and he's making shots, then that's going to be a bonus. They love Elijah Strong, the transfer from Boston College. They really think he's a good player. So, anyway, they got a bunch of new pieces. You're going to have to buy a program to learn, but that's the case all around the country.
Welcome
who
to
doesn't
college
have
basketball,
a brand new roster? Yeah, who doesn't have a brand new roster? So we will hear from him as well. Then, of course, the football coaches today. Smitty went up to Clemson for Dabo Swinney, who basically said that they have stunk at home in their home games, and he's ready for the Tigers to play a good, solid home game in front of the fans and show them what they can really do. Is this going to be the weekend they do that? SMU is a dangerous, dangerous team with an excellent quarterback, a very good passing offense, a good running game. Defensively, they give up a lot of yards through the air, and so you just wonder how Clemson will attack. Will they attack through the air because they realize that SMU has been vulnerable to giving up big plays down the field in the passing game?
Well, and also doesn't that depend on the status of Cade Klubnik? It appears he's going to be fine as the week progresses. They'll work him back into the mix. But, I mean, how injured is he coming off, an ankle sprain last weekend, the big win over Boston College. But I think, as you pointed out last night, going to a break, I think you said throw the football, and that's exactly what Clemson needs to do. And I'm sure Tiger fans are just wanting them to come out and actually play well at home, because they have not beaten they haven't won a Power 4 game at home since, I think it was the Virginia game of last year. Yeah,
correct. Yeah. That is correct.
That was the middle of October. It's almost been a year since they beat a P4 team at Death Valley. Tiger fans are getting sick and tired of showing up and cheering on their team and watching them not play well. So, yeah, that's one thing they've got to do. And if Clemson plays well, they'll beat SMU. But if they let them hang around, we've seen what can happen. Syracuse made them look silly. They've got to play a lot better than they have thus far at home, with maybe the exception of the LSU game. I think defensively in that game, they certainly played well enough to win. They just didn't make any plays in the second half offensively. But, yeah, I think Tiger fans are probably sick and tired of driving home from Clemson after watching them lose.
I wonder if Clemson fans think, after what's happened the last two games, the blowout wins at North Carolina and at Boston College, I wonder if they believe that their team is back. I wonder if they go into Death Valley on Saturday riled up, treating this like a playoff game, treating this like an ACC championship game, and believing, and you know what, we got it all fixed. We're ready to rock and roll. We're going to put 40 points on these guys and hold them to about 17. We're going to beat these guys up, very, very soundly, and further provide evidence that the team has turned it around for a strong stretch the rest of the way.
I don't think that's a fair assessment. I'm guessing most Tiger fans are still probably in let's go see if we can do it, wait and see mode, because let's face it, Boston College and North Carolina are just the dregs of the ACC. They are not very good football teams, and that's being modest. I'll be fascinated on Thursday when we have the M&M boys, because Will Merritt, one thing I've always respected about him, he loves his Tigers, there's no question, but he's also very fair about them, and if they're not playing well, Will's going to be the first one to say. So he'll be the one, because he was up at Boston to watch them play over the weekend, and I'll be fascinated to get his take to see if he believes that they're back, or is he in wait and see to see how they play this weekend against SMU.
All right, South Carolina today, of course, Shane Beamer answering more questions about the firing of Lonnie Teasley and the shifting of Sean Elliott over to the position of offensive line coach. The plumber, of course, was there for us. He is our Tuesday Beamer Presser designated media member, and he does a great job. Did you learn anything that you didn't already know, plumber?
The only thing I learned is that apparently you don't need to blow things up to fix your offensive line. According to Shane Beamer, you just need a new voice in the room. So I guess we'll see how that works out for the Gamecocks. We'll see on Saturday, I suppose.
Was that a direct
you
quote?
Took away from the press conference, that you don't blow up the offensive line? You just need a new voice.
Also, get to the game early. I hear the kickoff's at 12:45 and the State Fair starts at 10. So parking and traffic's going to be terrible. That's pretty much all I got.
Now that's not the first day of the State Fair, is it? It's been going on, hasn't it?
Yeah, the State Fair has been going on, but obviously that Saturday is one of the most chaotic days in that area.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe so. It's toward the end of the run, right? I think maybe people are tired and maybe you won't have as many people. You know what? Fair people stay away when there's a football game as well. They know the traffic can be hazardous to your health on that day. All right, so we'll hear from Shane Beamer. We'll hear from Dabo Sweeney, basketball coaches as well. By the way,
I do have a quick question for the plumber, though, from today.
Yeah.
Was that a direct quote from Beamer that Sean Elliott was, quote-unquote, barking at his offensive line?
Yes. Yes, the quote yes.
I could see Sean Elliott doing that, too. That's why I was not surprised.
Well, that shouldn't surprise anybody, because that's just always been his in-your-face kind of coaching style.
Exactly.
He's a very much in-your-face physical guy, but, we'll see. The first time a lineman moves on a pre-snap and draws a flag, the fans are going to go nutso. It's like, okay, well, that didn't solve the problem, But
so
if they go
Sean
out,
Elliott, though,
if they go out and run for 200 yards, which the offensive line the last couple of games has done a better job in terms of some run blocking. I know you look back at the LSU game and you point to the 72-yard run, but still. Somebody had to block.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody had to block to let him get through the line. They did go on to have 183 rushing yards, I believe, in that game. So they've had their two best running games back-to-back the last two times out. Clemson is picked 7th. Here's some respects. How about this? Clemson is picked 7th in the ACC men's basketball preseason ranking, considering they've got nobody returning. I mean, absolutely nobody. Well, except they got one. They got Dylan Hunter returning, but he was hurt some of last year. And they got R.J. Godfrey is back. I don't know. That doesn't count as a returnee, so to speak, not technically. He's a bounce back transfer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're 7th behind Duke, Louisville, North Carolina, NC State, Virginia, and SMU. And then Clemson, Syracuse, and Notre Dame. Then Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Florida State, Cal, Stanford, and Boston College is picked 18th. 18th. It's a lot of teams. 18th in the ACC men's preseason ranking. No Tigers made the All-ACC preseason team. But people, those who voted in that particular poll, have enough respect for Brad Brownell and what the Tigers have done. I mean, back-to-back NCAA appearances, should have been 3 in a row. I think they got robbed 3 years ago. Back-to-back appearances and a trip to the Elite Eight as part of that. So, but balancing that out, a first-round upset loss last year. So you make it to the Elite Eight, then the next year you lose in the opening round. You know, you just never know. South Carolina, let's see, what else want to mention here? South Carolina women's soccer up to number 8, their highest ranking of the season. They're having another great year. They could win an SEC championship.
Without a doubt, because they play about as good a defense as anybody in the country does.
Is that right?
That is indeed correct.
I didn't realize you kept up with that.
I do. You know, my wife played soccer growing up, so we'll watch a good bit of women's soccer over the season.
Good for you. Good for you. McBee forfeiting its game scheduled for this Friday against Louisville, and the Lions have been trying to line up an opponent. According to the News and Reporter, injuries. McBee's down to 15 players.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And the AD at Louisville is trying to find an opponent. Maybe they can get Rick Henry to come home and play.
I think they need to.
At age, what is he, 75? At age 75, put Rick Henry back in the lineup. The high school rankings for this week are out, the new ones by the South Carolina Prep Media. In 5A, it's Irmo, number 1, followed by Northwestern, Dutch Fork, Somerville, Greenwood, Ridgeview, James Island, Gaffney, Indian Land, and T.L. Hanna. Indian Land, what a great story. They're 7-0. I can remember when Indian Land couldn't beat anybody. Now they're 7-0, and they're ranked number 9. In the 4A poll, it's South Point number 1, followed by South Florence, AC Flora, Gray Collegiate, Daniel, North Augusta, Hilton Head, Seneca, Camden, May River. Is this the year a Columbia team, like AC Flora has been good year in and year out for several years, but they can't get over that hurdle, which usually, recently it's been the teams from Rock Hill or South Florence. Can they get over that hurdle and make it all the way to the championship game? We'll see. 3A, Belton Honeypath, number 1, followed by Oceanside Collegiate, then Newberry at number 3. Then Loris, Mountain View Prep, Woodruff, Orangeburg, Wilkinson, Marlboro County having a great year, Swansea and Dillon with 3 losses.
Yeah.
And still ranked number 10. Okay.
That's another one, as I was talking about the Gamecocks earlier, based on reputation, that clearly is. Dillon's got no business being ranked in the top 10. If we don't have another 3A team in our state that has a better record and a better resume than Dillon does, 3A football is not what it used to be.
All right, well, stand by. This can't be right. Is this right? I guess it is. In the 2A poll, Central is number 1, and then Clinton is number 2. They've got 3 losses?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Snuck up on me there.
They should not be ranked number 2. Yeah.
You're being fair. Strom Thurmond is number 3. What a great year for them. Timberland is 4. Hampton County has 3 losses. They're 5. But, maybe it's just the depth of quality teams that even these teams with 3 losses are better than other teams with fewer losses.
And that may be fair, and that may be true. I mean, It really is. But yeah, I just find it hard to believe that you can rank Clinton at 5-3, and then you look down where Newberry is ranked, and Newberry beat Clinton. Remember, and they're third and undefeated in the 3A poll.
Yeah. Philip Simmons is 6, Fairfield Central 7, Saluda 8, Batesburg, Leesville 9, and Chester 10. In the 1A poll, it's Bamberg Earhart. They're 7-0, followed by Abbeville, then Cross, Ware Shoals, Carvers Bay, then Johnsonville, Latta, Lamar, Louisville, and Hunter, Kynard, Tyler. All right. We are going to hear from the coaches coming up. We can squeeze in a couple of phone calls if you have a desire to reach out to us. That phone number is 888-898-2525. Go ahead and get your picks in for the games coming up this week. If you hit it on the nose, we'll take you out to lunch at Seawells. That text line number is 803-900-4847. Back in a moment.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
We're with Major Billy Downer with the Department of Natural Resources, and we're visiting at the brand new DNR offices at the State Farmers Market. Major, tell us more about this place.
That's right, Phil. The Department of Natural Resources has a new office located at the South Carolina Farmers Market. You can find us at 260D Epting Lane inside the Farmers Market grounds. Look for the DNR logo when you turn off of Highway 221 in West Columbia, or you can always go to the App Store on your Apple or Android device and look for Go Outdoors SC. Download the app and you can buy all of your license needs right there.
Visit GoOutdoorsSouthCarolina.com today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
When South Carolina's best high school football players take the field at the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, they're backed by a powerful team of their own. As proud title sponsors, your local co-ops celebrate more than just a game. It's a tradition where talent shines, where teamwork matters, and where community spirit takes center stage. Don't miss the 78th Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, December 13th at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium in Myrtle Beach, powered by your electric cooperative.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III. Heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5. Welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network, coming to you from the Grand Bohemian Hotel in Mountain Brook, Alabama tonight. Bergey's at the Bergey Palace, an equally fabulous boutique resort that you can, if you want to, call Bergey and he'll rent you a room. And the plumber's at his place there at the studios.
I'm at the shop. That's what we can call it. We'll just call it the shop.
He's back at the shop. Saw this today. This is coming from, telling it like it is, At least, when somebody says somebody's telling it like it is, that's because that person agrees with what that person is saying. You know what I mean? So obviously, I agree with what this person is saying. This is from Kevin White, former Notre Dame and Duke athletics director. I don't know if he just posted this or if he was on some kind of a show or something, but here's the quote. Over my almost 4 decades as a director of athletics, college athletics has never been at the current level of disarray. The ecosystem is terribly broken, not sustainable, largely fueled by funny money, which is activating an artificial market. The pay-for-play system known as NIL has served to deregulate the larger enterprise wherein no rules, regulations, and or guardrails exist. It should be noted that this level of deregulation does not exist within any professional sports league. I mean, that's all true. As I see it, that's all well thought. And I don't know, again, how you can continue to exist under these particular circumstances where there are no guardrails, there are no regulations, there are no restrictions. It's to the highest bidder, and the highest bidder is free to bid as high as they want to bid for a player or a coach, as the case may be.
Mm-hmm. I just wish it would have come from somebody that's currently in the system that can fix the system or at least offer a solution. It's really easy to be away from whatever industry and then criticize that industry. It'd be a lot better if you were actually inside the industry and could help it get better if that's what you believe needs to happen.
All right, we'll be right back here from the coaches.
On Point Weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening, a low of 57. If you're enjoying today, you'll love tomorrow. It's a clone of today. Plentiful sunshine to go with a high temperature of 80. In fact, lots of sun the rest of the work week with highs in the upper 70s, nighttime lows in the 50s. Our next rain looks like late Sunday afternoon and evening, a 40% chance we get some showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
The Point.
I can know you. With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump has awarded the Medal of Freedom to Charlie Kirk in a live ceremony today from the White House with his wife Erica Kirk on hand to accept it. Kirk was a crucial Trump ally and organizer of the MAGA movement. He was also fatally shot September 10th. Later, President Trump had posted on Truth Social he planned to award Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That is the nation's highest award that can go to a civilian. Also at srnnews.com, the U.S. military struck another suspected drug-carrying boat in the waters off of Venezuela. The president said 6 people on board the vessel were killed in the strike and no U.S. forces were harmed. The 5th deadly strike in the Caribbean after the president said he started treating alleged drug traffickers as unlawful combatants. On Wall Street today, the Dow was up by more than 200 points. This is SRN News.
Sometimes timing is everything, and I've been talking the talk about Broker Solar for a good minute. I'm a fan. I've had some Point listeners ask me about Broker Solar. They're on the fence because of what's going on in D.C. Now that the politics have settled, we know what's in that big, beautiful bill. We know the federal tax credit for getting solar power at your home. It's going to end in December, so the clock is ticking. You want that 30% federal tax credit, believe me. So we need to get Ken out to your place before they cut it. Plus, you'll still get a 25% tax credit here in South Carolina. So yeah, timing is everything. 30% federal, 25% state credit. Are you kidding me? That's a big part of the cost already knocked out for solar power. It's time for you to take control of your own power bill. Like I said, timing's everything. Now is the time. Online, it's brokersolar.com or just call Ken and his team. 807-7417. That's 807-7417. brokersolar.com.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington. Greg Lynette and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues, just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington.
By now you've heard Southern Palmetto Renovations can handle both interior and exterior painting projects, repair rotten wood, deck and fence building, pretty much anything from the roof down. Did you know we also renovate bathrooms? Usually taking only 2 to 3 days to complete a new walk-in shower install, complete with custom colors and styles you choose from. We're very reasonably priced. We are local and have 30 years of satisfied customers. Give us a call, 922-5615. Southern Palmetto Renovations. A job to some, to us, a reputation.
If you're feeling the weight of the world, how about visiting Spa MD in West Columbia? Marcy and her team can provide that perfect massage for individuals or even a couple. Lainey's been several times. She comes home completely revitalized. For a gift, if you're in the doghouse, or just because you love her, check out their options at visitspamd.com or call 251-9400. Leave your stress behind because you know what? You deserve this getaway. Spa MD, 251-9400.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Talk on a Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Talking Tuesday. Find your co-op at touchstoneenergy.com. Right now, find South Carolina coach Shane Beamer right here on Sports Talk from his press conference earlier today.
I should have said this the other night and forgot, but want to thank our fans that were down at LSU the other night. They were awesome. From the looking out my window at the hotel all day Saturday, we stayed right on the interstate, and I feel like every time I looked out the window, I saw a car on the interstate headed towards campus with Gamecock flags on the car. Driving into campus, all the rabid fans, but you saw a lot of South Carolina fans out there tailgating. Also, as we came in, when the buses dropped us off, all the Gamecock fans that were there to meet us when we got off the bus, that was awesome. All the fans that were down there in that corner by our locker room were loud and made their presence felt, and it was a sea of garnet and black down there, which was awesome. And then during pregame warm-ups, I looked up in the upper deck, kind of behind our bench, and there was a whole swath of garnet and black up there in the upper deck also. So really appreciate them making the trip down there. Sorry that we didn't get a win for you. Wanted nothing more than to get a win while we were down there for all of our awesome fans that were down there. But really, really, really appreciate them traveling and making the trip down to Louisiana. It's great having them there. And it's what South Carolina football is about, what this program's about, what this university is about, what this fan base is about. So thank you very, very, very much. And then we're going to need you again on Saturday. First day game that we've had here at home. So we've got to get up early and get the tailgating going early, get in here early. I know what traffic is like on State Fair Saturday, and we know it's going to be a lot of traffic. So leave early, get here, tailgate. We need you in there early, and we need a home field advantage. It doesn't matter. We talk to our players. It doesn't matter. Game time, location, none of that should change how we play, and none of that should change how we cheer and the noise we make on Saturday, whether it's a 12:45 game or a 7:45 game. It needs to be loud. We've got a really, really good opponent coming in here that's playing their first true away game. Nothing against the home field advantage that Temple has, but I don't think playing in the Eagles Stadium is the same as playing in Williams-Brice. And last week down in Dallas. I've been a part of that game. It's an unbelievable environment, but it's still a 50-50 crowd. This will be their first true away game in front of 80+ thousand, and they need to feel us on Saturday, and I know they will. Like I said, got a big know our fans will do their part. Got a big challenge. Coach Venables has done an amazing job there. He has taken back over the defense this season, and it is obvious the impact that he has made. I know y'all love stats. You're going to love when you look at their stats because it won't take you long to find them in the defensive rankings nationally. They're pretty much 1, 2, or 3 in literally every category, it feels like, and rightfully so. They're active and disruptive up front. The linebackers are all experienced. They've got a transfer that's come in from Oklahoma State that's really added to that. The whole secondary returns. They've brought in a true freshman at corner that's playing really well. And then, of course, our Mason Thomas and what he does up front. He makes life really, really difficult on opposing offensive lines. And then the movement they have up front with the defensive tackles. They're well coached. They're great players. The transfer from Florida State's made an impact on the other side. Special teams, opportunistic. They faked 3 punts last year themselves, one in the bowl game, one against Missouri, and one against us. They're opportunistic. They challenge you with their schemes, special teams wise. And then, offensively, the impact that John Mateer has made on their entire program. I mean, what a player he is. You go back and watch his Washington State tape. He is a football player, and a ton of respect for him. It's evident what kind of leader he is and how those people the players on that team rally around him, and the toughness and competitive spirit he has to go out there and play in that game against Texas last week. He's just a heck of a player, and everything starts with him. Solid running backs, physical offensive line, tight end that was playing linebacker for him last year that's come over to the other side of the ball and is doing a nice job. And then they're better at receiver. They had some injuries there last year at the receiver position that decimated that whole group, and those guys are back healthy. And then they've added a couple transfers there that are playing in the rotation. So they're highly ranked for a reason. They're well coached, they're tough, they're physical, play hard, know the tradition in that program from being there for 4 years that I was there, and 3 years that I was there. So got a big challenge Saturday, and looking forward to being back in front of our home crowd. I'm sure you'll ask about injuries. I'd say all those guys that you want to know about, they're all questionable right now. We'll have a better idea tomorrow.
How confident are you that a different voice will cut down the number of penalties?
Confident, but then also you turn on the tape of Oklahoma and you see how active they are, and I think they're right at the top of the SEC in sacks and TFLs, and I think I've told you guys before on Mondays I always watch what I call the havoc tape, and it's just the opponent's tackles for loss, sacks, and turnovers, and usually in a 4-game body of work there's 30 plays on there. I think it was 68 yesterday. And even Hunter, he had the day off from school, and he was up here with me. He went to the fair and came over here for about 30 minutes and brought me dinner, and he was watching it with me and was like, oh, my God. And it's a lot on there. So they're active. But that is the hope, certainly, Jordan, that we can cut down on the, pre-snap penalties. Today at practice, Sean was literally lined up across from the center pretty much every play of practice, screaming, yelling, clapping, barking, blowing whistles, making move calls himself, just trying to make things as difficult as possibly can. So would it be nice to say that we're going to go out there and have 0 pre-snap penalties on Saturday? Yes, it would be nice to say that. Is that realistic? I don't know, but it definitely needs to be less than, I think we had 6 on offense the other night alone. And I think of those 6, 5 were on the offensive line. So, we need to cut down on that without a doubt, and maybe a different, voice will help us do that. And that's certainly, we've been trying to emphasize it and implement it even more in practice, but you just, a different voice in that room may help things just from a mental standpoint of the scheme we're asking them to run, what we're asking them to do on the play once the ball's snapped, but then also the leading up to the snap, to the things that's going on in our minds.
Shane, you see the way Mateer was affected last week by Texas, but he also had the hand injury and stuff, and I know he had the surgery coming back pretty soon. How much do you guys try to pull from what Texas did in affecting him. They sacked him 5 times, had a lot of pressure on him, and obviously the hand injury seemed to affect him a lot.
Yeah, you certainly look at that, and we got to do what we do. Texas has got some really good players on defense. They're well coached on defense, and they affected the quarterback, and they got pressure on him. So for us, Jack, it always starts with stopping the run. We've got to stop the run first. They've got talented running backs in that room, and they're coached by one of the greatest ever to play in DeMarco Murray. So that's a really good group in that running back room. Offensive line coach I worked with, and Bill Beatenbow, he's fantastic. So they're well coached up front. So you got to stop the run, and the quarterback's a runner. He's a weapon with his legs. So we've got to do that, but we've got to be able to affect the quarterback by not letting them get in the run game going, and then being able to put pressure on him, because that's what Texas was able to do. He felt Texas in their backfield at times, and he had to get rid of some throws under pressure, and that's the blueprint with any team, that you're trying to play. So you look at Texas, what Texas did, but you look at what Temple did, and you look at what Auburn did, and you look at what Michigan did, and you look at what going back to Washington State, because Mateer and the quarterback both came from Washington State. You look at what teams did against them. So, that's something that we've been doing all summer, like we do with all of our opponents, and something that we're looking at this week also.
I'm curious, you've been around a lot of programs. I kind of went back and watched a lot of just random interviews with different offensive linemen, and the language and sort of how people vocalize what that position means in terms of quarterback protection. Just have you noticed different programs, what works and what doesn't in terms of sort of building chemistry in that relationship between offensive line and quarterbacks? And I guess, do you feel like if something succeeds in one program, you can apply it, or is it just too different?
No, it's a great question. I've been around a lot of different offensive line coaches in my time, when I start going back through the head of all the great line coaches I've been around, there's some, great ones going back to my graduate assistant days and then my assistant coach days. And they all have different ways of teaching what, one coach may call a line call to slide to the right. One coach may call it Ray. One coach may call the same thing Rock. One coach may call the same thing Roger. One coach may call the same thing Ricky. And it's just, that's their call and their style. And, I think it's a tough position to coach because it's 5 guys that you're all trying to get on the same page. And every coach has a different style. Bill Beatenbow, the offensive line coach at Oklahoma, his style is a lot different than Sam Pittman's, who I worked with at Georgia. It's just different styles of coaching. Doesn't make one right or wrong. I think the biggest thing, Lulu, is just, one, be who you are. That's got to be your style. And as a coach, whether it be offensive line or any position, your personality needs to show in your players. And I tell our guys all the time, you're the head coach of your position. So what you're putting on tape, that's your resume, and that's how hard they play. That's an indictment on you and a reflection of you. And more so than anything, whether it be offensive line or other positions, I just think it's the connection that you have with guys and the relationships that you have with guys where you're spending time with them, yes, on the field, but you're spending time with them off the field where, one, they're playing with great effort for you because they love you and they care about you and you're connected. But then, 2, you're building those connections and bonds because, let's face it, that offensive line is unlike any other position on the team because it's 5 guys that all have to be in lockstep. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I think every coach has their own style. Every coach is different, and you got to be who you are. But I think the one common denominator is the alignment that we're all in this together for one another. That you can coach them this style, but at the end of the day, us 5, we're aligned with our coach and the rest of that offensive line group to go be who we are. And to me, that the great ones I've been around, that's what they were able to get.
All right, Shane Beamer from his press conference. All of that is up on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and also, of course, available for you in podcast form if you prefer to hear things that way. Yes, Oklahoma ranked number 1 in total defense, number 2 in scoring defense, number 1 in tackles for loss, number 2 in passing yards allowed, number 2 in first downs, number 3 in sacks, number 7 in third down conversion. And that was just from a quick glance yesterday at the stats. So they will bring a very formidable defense into Columbia for the game on Saturday at Williams-Brice. Okay.
In fairness, before we get to Dabo, how much of their stats are skewed by the 35-3 win and the 44-0 win over Illinois State and Kent State? And the 42-3 victory against Temple.
That all comes in, gets factored into stats. That's why stats can be misleading. Now you want to go back and break it down against the power
Michigan and Auburn,
Power 4 teams. Then
and
you'll
Texas,
see where they're ranked. But anyway, no matter how you slice it, it's still pretty impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
To have all those when you have all those defensive stats in single digits, that means you've got a pretty good defensive crew.
No doubt.
We're going to hit the break and come back and hear from Dabo Sweeney from up at Clemson today as the Tigers are preparing for a team with a really, really good offense, a very dangerous quarterback, good receivers. They can score. They can move the ball, as they showed Clemson in the championship game. They have trouble stopping the other team, especially through the air. So will Clemson attack them through the air? Will the Tigers try to be balanced? Will they try to prove something on the ground? We'll hear from Dabo Sweeney coming up.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love, and you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
Life insurance isn't for you. It's for those you love the most. For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
You work hard for your money. Shouldn't your money work hard for you too? Think about all the hours you've put in, the late nights, the early mornings, the dedication to your craft. Now imagine those dollars doing some of the heavy lifting for a change, growing quietly in the background while you focus on what matters most. Whether you're saving for a dream vacation, a new home, or just building a cushion for peace of mind, putting your money to work is one of the smartest moves you can make. Open a certificate at Founders Federal Credit Union and earn more with your savings. For a limited time only, Founders is offering 18-month certificates at 4.32% annual percentage yield and 18-month IRA certificates at 4.58% annual percentage yield. To get started, visit foundersfcu.com/dividend rates or one of our many convenient office locations. All you need is $500 to get started, but don't delay. These rates won't last. Open your certificate today. Your future self will thank you for opening a certificate at Founders. Federally insured by the NCUA. Membership qualification required. $500 minimum balance. 18-month term. Dividends compound quarterly. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Continuing here with a Talking Tuesday on Sports Talk as a Touchstone Energy Cooperative Talking Tuesday. Find your co-op at touchstoneenergy.com. Let's go to the upstate. Here is Dabo Sweeney.
We've been going a while, and we've not played well at home, and so it's our big goal this week is to play well at home, and we have not done that. So we've got to get back to playing like we're capable of playing here in the Valley. Our fans deserve that. It's unbelievable support here, and we won the Troy game, but we didn't play well, and so we need to continue the momentum. We've created some momentum these last couple of games by just, not playing perfect, but we've played well. And that's really the best thing that's come out of these last couple of weeks is just the guys seeing the results, from playing well. And they've prepared well, and they've earned the right to win by doing what winning requires. So I'm proud of that. But we got a tough challenge. SMU's a good football team. I didn't know Rhett well before he got into the league, but I really like him. I mean, he's one of the real good guys in college football. I think he's a really good coach, but, we got a lot in common. Spent a good amount of time with him since he's joined this league, and just really have a lot of respect for him. Just who he is as a person, but also as a coach. I mean, he's done a heck of a job at SMU. Obviously, we had a knockdown, drag out down to the last play last year, and man, they got after us. I mean, we had some big plays. They had big plays, and we had a chance to put the game away. We didn't do it. They battled back. We were fortunate to win the game. But huge challenge. They're a really good football team across the board. Offensively, I mean, this is by far the most dynamic quarterback we've played. I mean, he's a problem. He is a really good player, and he's going to make some plays. I'd like to say you're just going to shut this guy down, but I have yet to see that happen. He's a really good player. He makes a lot of off-schedule plays. He'll let it rip from every arm angle you can imagine, from over the top to sidearm to behind his back. He even ran a shovel behind his back. I mean, so like he's just a really good player. He's got a great feel for the rush lanes and when to step up and out and when to run around, and he's made a ton of big plays again that. Some are designed, some they get him out on the edge, and you have to cover these guys until the whistle is blown. I mean, you have to cover forever because he can create. So he's a really good player. I mean, I just got a lot of respect for him. That they haven't run him a ton. I'm sure that will be a big part of their plan coming in against us. But they're fast, they're explosive, really good receivers all across the board. Same thing at running back. They're committed to running the ball. I mean, I think that's a big thing with them. They're very patient and committed to the run game, and a big part of that is because they're a big play action team. They want to throw the ball off the run action, lots of screens. If they're not having success inside, they get the ball on the edges and force you to have to be strong on the perimeter. And it's just a lot of misdirection, a lot of eye candy that you have to process through at linebacker and safety with a bunch of pullers, and then here comes a screen backside or it's some type of pop pass or whatever. The tight ends are really good players. They got two elite tight ends that they involve in a big way. So I just think they're a really good team across the board, good up front, well coached, and big challenge for us. And over on the defensive side, their two ends are really good pass rushers. They're top 10, I think, in sacks. And they win with just beating their guy, but they'll also win with some of their pressure that they'll bring. They're not a big blitz team per se, but they'll bring a lot of pressures, some sim pressures. So we've got to do a good job of communicating. They got a lot of twists and things like that. But, number 1 and number 9 are really good players at end for them. So defensively, they're very sound. They're consistent in what they do, out of their 4 down front. So, again, a team that's coming in here undefeated in the league, and they got a tough loss to Baylor down to the last play, and a tough loss to TCU. So undefeated in the league, and obviously they're trying to get back to Charlotte, and we're playoff football every week. We're fighting for our life every single week, and so it's a big game for both teams, and look forward to competing against them in the Valley. So excited about it, and hopefully raising some money as well for a good cause.
I guess you mentioned playing well at home. I mean, has that been one of the more disappointing parts of this early season, considering how dominant you guys were at home?
Yeah, we've stunk. I mean, we've lost 3 out of our last 4 games at home. I know last year's a different team, but this team, we've not done well. I mean, got to give a good team. LSU's a good team. I mean, it's not like they stink, but we had a chance to win the game and didn't make some of the plays that were there. And we didn't play well offensively, mostly in that game. And then the Syracuse game, we just didn't even start playing defense till the third quarter. So again, give them credit, but yeah, we really didn't play well in any game until North Carolina. Collectively, as we've had some players play well every week. It's just been, kind of, all right, Tag, you're it. So we just haven't played well as a team, and so, but they've had 2 good games, and they've played really well, complimentary football, and so now we gotta, we've gone from Chapel Hill to Chestnut Hill. Now we're back on the hill, and we need to keep playing well.
That's my line, Dabo Swinney. You can't be using my line. I already said that you went to Chapel Hill to Chestnut Hill, now back in the hills. He twisted it a little bit there, Bergie. SMU, injury-wise, according to report, today their right tackle, P.J. Williams, didn't play against Stanford, but reportedly things are trending in the right direction for him to be able to play. This is coming from Lashley today. Terry Webb got banged up in the Stanford game, but he came back in. Same thing with Marcellus Barnes. And he said some guys that were out last week were game-time decisions. Cornerback Jalen Davis-Robinson only played 7 snaps, and he will be someone they'll keep an eye on in practice this week. Okay, top of the hour.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump has awarded the Medal of Freedom to Charlie Kirk in a live ceremony from the White House.
So we hold his memory in our hearts forever. Every single day of this administration, we will continue to carry out the mission for which he lived. And he really did. He lived for this country. He lived for his wife and his family, but he lived for this country, too. In Charlie's honor, we will continue like we have been to fight, and to win. We're going to win so much.
Kirk was a crucial Trump ally and an organizer of the MAGA movement. He was fatally shot September 10th while holding one of his college events at Utah Valley University. The U.S. military has struck another suspected drug-carrying boat in the waters off of Venezuela.
President Trump said 6 people aboard the vessel were killed in the strike and no U.S. forces were harmed. It's the 5th deadly strike in the Caribbean as the Trump administration has asserted it's treating alleged drug traffickers as unlawful combatants. On Capitol Hill, some Republicans want more information from the White House on the legal justification and details of the strikes. Greg Clugston, Washington.
A mixed bag on Wall Street. The Dow was up by 202 points, and NASDAQ suffered a 172-point decline. Julie Walker reports on the latest comments from the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell on rate cuts.
Powell's comments Tuesday in a speech to the National Association of Business Economics suggests that the Fed will likely cut its key interest rate twice more this year.
Based on the data we do have, it's fair to say that the outlook for employment and inflation does not appear to have changed much since our September meeting.
That's when the Fed reduced its key rate for the first time this year. Powell also says although some important government data has been delayed due to the shutdown, they routinely review a wide variety of public and private sector data that have remained available. I'm Julie Walker.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is Dennis Prager for AmFed Coin and Bullion. There's something about the feel of a gold coin in your hand and the way the light reflects off its intricate details that has always captivated me. Nick Grovich, AmFed's owner, turned that same passion into his livelihood. Nick began collecting coins as a teen, and that interest grew into a nationally respected business offering only the finest quality coins at the most competitive prices. But the truth is that although Nick is a rare coin dealer, he doesn't believe in rare coins. Rare coins do not make sound investments. but they do make dealers a lot of money. See, that's part of what I respect about him. AmFed specializes in buying non-performing numismatic coins and turning them into gold or silver investments that provide liquidity and perform competitively against the market. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says President Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for securing a ceasefire in Gaza.
This is an historic moment. It deserves enormous credit and recognition on the world stage. It's truly, truly historic. For generations, we have aspired to peace in the Middle East, everyone around the world, and now President Trump has delivered it.
And Johnson says he'll nominate the president for the 2026 prize. A California engineer walks away with the top prize in a pumpkin weighing contest.
Brandon Dawson of Santa Rosa clinched victory Monday at the 52nd World Championship Pumpkin Weigh-Off in Half Moon Bay. His giant pumpkin weighed 2,346 pounds. He says his 4-year-old son now pays attention to the growing process, especially since giant pumpkins can grow 50 to 70 pounds a day. Keith Peters, Washington.
You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening, a low of 57. If you're enjoying today, you'll love tomorrow. It's a clone of today. Plentiful sunshine to go with a high temperature of 80. In fact, lots of sun the rest of the work week with highs in the upper 70s, nighttime lows in the 50s. Our next rain looks like late Sunday afternoon and evening, a 40% chance we get some showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
And welcome back to Sports Talk, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. We're still in Birmingham tonight for SEC basketball tip-off. We're at the Bohemian Hotel, Grand Bohemian, in Mountain Brook, Birmingham. And beautiful hotel. Check it out when you come to this area for whatever event you might be coming in. I saw one projection for the Gamecocks in the Birmingham Bowl. So if the Gamecocks end up in the Birmingham Bowl, I suggest that you stay right here at this beautiful boutique hotel in Mountain Brook, the Grand Bohemian. It is really, really nice. So check it out. Put it on your list. Make plans if indeed you're lucky enough that the Gamecocks get into the Birmingham Bowl in late December, and you can freeze your tatas. Freeze off your tatas. Let's see here. Got some predictions coming in on the text line. This is from Adam. He's got Clemson 34-24 and South Carolina 20-18. So thank you, Adam. We'll hold that and see if you're accurate. Tony from Lancaster's got South Carolina 20-17 and Clemson 34-17. So thank you for that. If you hadn't gotten your prediction into us, you got time. If you hit it square on the head, this is not against the spread. This is just straight scores. If you happen to get either one right, we'll take you to lunch at Seawell's. If you get them both right, Bergie, you can bring your wife or girlfriend with you, and we'll take care of that as well. How about that? Who else does that?
Now, what a date night that would be.
Now,
Seawell's Buffet.
Now, can the listener or whoever, can they pick the Sports Talk host? Can they ask if Bergie can go instead? Because what if they don't want Mr. Korn?
Well, hey, listen, you know what? It's a free country. You can choose whichever one of us you'd like to go with. My feelings won't be hurt. Okay? My feelings will not be hurt. We got time to take a couple of quick phone calls here before we move on. So let's go to some folks who've been waiting. We appreciate you. Andy in Columbia. Welcome in, sir. It's great to have you with us tonight right here on Sports Talk.
Well, if I would win, I would definitely not pick Horn because he probably wouldn't go with his wallet to start with.
Not hurting my feelings. Not hurting my feelings. You would owe me anyway. You owe me so many bets that you've lost. You know.
Oh, please. Oh, please. A couple of things I'd like to touch base on. Number one, did Sean Elliott's voice not be heard in that offensive line room when he was running game coordinator?
Yeah, I asked that same thing. I asked. Bergie and I were talking off the air, and I'm like, you know, that's all well and good, but I mean, why wasn't that being done previously? I would imagine that kind of stuff had to have been done previously. You all work together as a coaching staff, and if you've got an idea that you think is going to help a position, I mean, certainly you step up and you offer your suggestion. And part of the hiring of Sean Elliott, when he was hired, he was supposed to work with the offensive line as well as working with the tight ends. He was supposed to lend his offensive line expertise over to Lonnie Teasley with the offensive linemen.
Well, being the head of the running game coordinator, the offensive line falls under your supervision anyway.
Well, I don't think it falls under his supervision. I think that really falls under the heading of the offensive line coach. He's got, hands-on first say.
What, the running game coordinator, isn't responsible to make sure that his offensive line is competent, doing things in the right way, going in the right direction?
To a certain degree, but that's why you have an offensive line coach.
What's he got, four tight ends that he's coaching? And the guy can't stick his nose into the offensive line where he's where he's the running game coordinator? The line has a big thing to do with the running game. So that's just my opinion.
No, I agree with that, and I think that if he had something to say, if he had something to add, I'm sure he was doing that. I'm sure he's been assisting with the offensive line all along as far as suggestions and
let's hope he adds
recommendations.
Let's hope he adds more.
Yeah. We'll see.
Couple other things. Do you think Clemson might be ranked 7th in the ACC, considering maybe the ACC is not the power basketball conference as it once was?
Yeah, maybe so. Though I think you're giving Clemson some respect by what they accomplished last year. But this is an entirely different team. Are you saying everybody behind them in the rankings, they're like really bad? And so Clemson had to fall somewhere?
The ACC is a really bad basketball conference compared to what they used to be.
Well, let's see who's behind them. Miami is down. Syracuse has slipped. Notre Dame was bad. Wake Forest is not very good. Virginia Tech's been below average. Georgia Tech has been bad. Pitt was down. Florida State had a bad year, and they have a new coach. And then you got Cal, and you got Stanford, and then you got Boston College.
Got a bunch of slubs.
Yeah, so, I guess Clemson is better than the I would say Clemson.
The conference
it's all based on what you did last year, and then of course you kind of factor in what's coming back. Duke got 34 first place votes, but look who they lost off of last year's team. But then look who they are bringing in as freshmen. They never run short of talent.
The Boozer brothers are going to be great.
Yeah,
the Boozer twins are going to be great. My last thing, you were talking about the women's in UConn losing Becker. Let's not forget about Elmer's daughter, who's coming back, and also Strong.
Easy Foot is a player. There's no doubt.
She's a talent. She is a extreme talent. And that
doubt.
was a big miss for Dawn Staley, considering that both her parents were graduates of our university here.
Yep.
All
right, we got to run.
Miss.
We got to run. We got Perry Orth standing by. Don't want to let the QB1 wait too long. Thank you so much. Appreciate your phone call. All right, let's get to former Gamecock quarterback Perry Orth, QB1, here on Sports Talk.
Now to QB1 Perry Orth, right here on Sports Talk.
I think I just said that. Perry Orth, QB1. Joining us now, right here on Sports Talk, And it's great to have Perry with us as he's brought to you by Moultrie Insurance. Moultrie Insurance helps to protect your business from the risks you don't see coming so you can focus on moving that ball forward. Just like a good quarterback, they anticipate challenges. They call the right plays. They keep you protected. Trust Moultrie Insurance to cover your blind side and keep your business in the game. Visit MoultrieINS.com today. That's Moultrie, MoultrieINS.com. Perry, welcome in. How are you?
Man, I'm great. I apologize for the delay. Little miscommunication on my end, so sorry for the delay. But yeah, we are back and ready to go.
You know what? We've been dealing with South Carolina pre-snap penalties all week, so a delay penalty on you, that's par for the course.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I feel like I am expressing my inner South Carolina offense right now. I said, how can I have a delay of game or maybe something to slow it down before we get started?
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate you guys. But yeah, no, your joke is spot on, and we need to get that fixed in order for us to have a successful back end of the season.
Tell me from a quarterback standpoint, what can a quarterback do out there? Is there anything a quarterback can do?
You know, to be honest, from what I'm seeing, no. The only thing that I could think of would be getting in and out of plays that might be able to get the ball out of your hand quickly. But, you know, there was that stat floating around that we had, I think 72%, or LSU had 72% pressure on the QB without running a blitz. And I think the second closest team to that was in the 50 percentile. So we did not show up from an offensive line standpoint the other night, and that caused some issues and some, whether you want to call it miscommunication, lack of execution. It just caused our offense to not perform at the level that they have the ability to, along with just dysfunction, which unfortunately probably led to a loss.
What'd you see in Lenore Sellers' play the other night? He did not have big stats either throwing the ball or running the ball. I guess when you incorporate the 5 sacks, it took away from his total gain running the football, because he did run it a lot. He ended up running the football 22 times, but only a net of 19 yards. He had 55 yards in losses.
Yeah, nope, you nailed it on the head. And I think it's just tough for a quarterback to really get moving when you don't have any pressure and you're getting no support, right? You can't run it, you can't block, you can't catch it for yourself, you know. And so he was just tied up trying to do as much as he possibly could. And there's something to be said, and I'm not sure if we've talked about on the show, but rhythm from an offensive side, and especially from a quarterback. It's kind of like in golf. I don't know if you guys are golfers, but if you have a couple good shots in a row, you start to develop that confidence. And so every time you grab that 5-iron, or every time you grab that 7-iron, you just, in your mind, you're like, man, I'm going to stripe this ball. And there's no difference when you're playing quarterback, and you're playing quarterback at South Carolina against a team on the road like an LSU. And every time you go out to catch that snap, if you're having doubts that, oh my gosh, I'm going to need to run for my life, or, man, we can't block to save a soul, I need to stare at the rush instead of keeping my eyes down the field. There's a bunch of different things that go into it, and I know that we had a long 72-yard rush, but other than that, we were relatively stymied in the run game, and it is really, really challenging for a quarterback to succeed when nothing really around you is working the way it should be.
Visiting with Perry Orth, QB1 here on Sports Talk. Had in your career, I guess primarily college, maybe even high school, did you ever experience a situation where an offensive assistant coach was changed out during the season?
No, but I have been a part of it when the head coach was. No, it's a challenge, and it's sad. Coach Teasley, Lonnie's a great human being, obviously a phenomenal recruiter, but unfortunately the message that was being shared just wasn't, received. And it might not be his fault. It could be 100% execution. You never really know unless you're in the meeting room and in the huddle. But man, my heart goes out to he and his family. It's never a good thing. My heart goes out to Coach Beamer having to make that decision because the unfortunate reality is he had to. And that's just the nature of this game. When you talk about coaches getting fired mid-season, you look at James Franklin. I mean, a couple plays away from playing for a national title last year, gets fired halfway through the season. And it's a challenging business. It's a pure production and performance business. And they know that. Coaches know that when they sign up. And I hate it for him, but unfortunately, the change had to happen.
Sure. Perry, fairly or unfairly, obviously the coach of that position, whatever position it is that is underperforming, is probably going to take the brunt of the responsibility. When you watch the Carolina offensive line through 6 games this year, did they look in your mind to be poorly coached, or are they just maybe not as talented as we thought they might be coming into the season?
Well, I think it's twofold. I think the easiest thing to blame is when you have false starts and delays of game and where they just don't look to be communicating well. A lot of times that appears on the surface to be a coaching issue, when in reality it might not be. It truly might be just lack of execution on behalf of the player. But at the end of the day, you're paid handsomely as a college coach to get the kids, locked in and ready to go. But then again, at the same time, I would say that there have been more talented players that are playing right now, or that have played in the past, and the reason I dance around it is there's so many variables that go into it. It could be the messaging. It could be, for whatever reason, we heard in the beginning of the year that the signals and calls weren't being relayed properly. There could be a laundry list of reasons as to why things are not being executed properly. And sometimes a new fresh face and voice makes all the difference to kind of rally the troops and get them going in the right direction. But kind of like I said before, man, I hate it for Lonnie. He's an amazing human being, and is a great recruiter and is a good football coach. But for whatever reason, it just that level of performance was not happening, which and we all know is not up to his personal standards. So it's a tough business. I hate seeing things like that, but I'm hopeful that and have enough track record to know that Coach Elliott's going to help right the ship.
Well, that's his strength, of course, the offensive line. That's where he cut his teeth. That's where he made his reputation. Let's take a look at Clemson, where, of course, they rolled up another one at Boston College. Klubnik was 22 of 30, 280 yards, a touchdown, 1 interception, sacked once before he had a little bit of an ankle sprain, but they say he'll be fine for this week. What'd you see watching the video of him, either live or been watching a little video of him? Did he look good to you? Does the Clemson offense look like it's in rhythm? You talk about rhythm. Do they look like they're in rhythm?
Yeah, I was going to say rhythm and command. Cade looks to have really taken that bye week, and really reflected on the first few games, and he's got that offense dialed in. Now they've played 2 really poor teams, and I understand that, but they've executed sharp. They've looked strong. I saw the play where he got injured. It almost looked like it was a minor concussion thing. He got popped right on the top of his head. But in the highlights that I was able to see, Clemson's kind of turning the corner. They look like they are they seem to be more like they're playing in unison. And, Dabo has a way of doing that, just like Coach Beamer does. But Dabo has a way of where his teams get better as the year progresses along. And when you start looking at their losses as a team, Syracuse has had some bad losses, but they're a good football team. Georgia Tech's number 10 in the country, and I don't know what LSU is this week, but I'm assuming right around where they were, right around that 11 mark. So, they've had a decent little schedule, and they get a break on some of these mid-season games. But they get SMU here shortly. So no, I mean they've got their work cut out for them too. But I expect them to continue to play well. And get better as the season goes along. And I would say and echo the same sentiment to South Carolina. Coach Beamer made a great point in his post game, 3-3 heading into Oklahoma week. And we get Oklahoma at home this week, and great opportunity to right the ship and get the team back on the right track.
What do you think of these 2 quarterbacks you're going to see at Clemson and at South Carolina? Kevin Jennings, he was 22 of 30. Last week, 247, a couple of touchdowns. He also, of course, runs very well. And then Mateer coming in with Oklahoma, who up until Saturday was having a great year. Up until prior to that, of course, he had the thumb injury. Before the thumb injury, I mean, he was lighting it up. What do you think of these two particular quarterbacks?
Yeah, well, I can speak to Mateer because I've watched him a little bit more and have followed him in his career, even at Washington State. And he's another dual threat, Baker Mayfield-esque player. He's going to run around. He's going to chunk it all over the yard. And I think he ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw. And to be honest, I think he's going to have some issues on Saturday, too, in front of this crowd. Clayton White defense is going to force turnovers, which he did a lot on Saturday. I think he finished with 3 picks. And if we do that again, man, we're going to have a chance. I mean, I would say that the way that we've played defense and have been able to turn the football over, and we've given our offense every chance and to succeed, and our team overall every chance to go win the football games we've been in. So I think that we're going to play well. But Mateer's a scrappy guy, throws a great ball, very athletic. So you can't just pin your ears back and run by him. You got to keep him in the pocket and bring him down when you get your hands on him.
You ever played with a broken thumb on your throwing hand?
No, good. More power to him. That is an incredible feat. I mean, anything with your hand is a pain. And then when you got to throw with it, it makes it to be very, very challenging. Now, I will add that his thumb had nothing to do with his interceptions on Saturday. I would say throwing into triple coverage would probably be a place to start for correction for Mr. Mateer.
Hey, Perry, as always, we thank you, sir. Have yourself a great rest of the week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Perry.
Excellent. Thanks, gentlemen. Y'all have a great evening.
You too, buddy. Okay, Perry Orth, brought to you by Moultrie Insurance. That's QB1, Bergie.
Yeah, did a great job breaking down both Klubnik's performance and Lenore Sellers. Thought his stuff about the offensive line of Carolina was really, really interesting.
He knows his stuff, that's for sure, and we'll be back after the break.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you. I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
This is Perry Orth, former South Carolina quarterback. On the field, my job was simple. Read the defense, protect the ball, and give my team the best chance to win. Off the field, at Moultrie Insurance, our job is no different. Help protect your business from the risks that you don't see coming, so you can focus on moving the ball forward. Just like a good quarterback, we anticipate challenges, call the right plays, and keep you protected. Trust Moultrie Insurance to cover your blind side and keep your business in the game. Visit MoultrieINS.com today.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
All right, before we hit the bottom of the hour break, let's go back to the phones. By the way, Eddie, he's got Oklahoma 28, South Carolina 17, and Clemson 30, SMU 17. Let's see what Tiger Bryan's got on his fertile brain tonight. Tiger Bryan, welcome in. How are you?
Man, it's been a minute. Hey,
You know what? I think if we don't play no better at home than we've been playing, we'll lose. But I think it'll be 31-17 Clemson. And South Carolina, it'll be, I'd say, 21-17 Oklahoma.
Can't get the Gamecocks over that 17 to 20 point range for the most part. They just seem to be stuck.
South Carolina ain't got no offensive line like I finally started playing. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's been a minute. We've been to go camping next Tuesday. I'm gonna be calling you from Lake Greenwood. We're going for a week.
Ooh!
So answer the phone when I call.
Don't
put me on hold like y'all always do.
No, we won't. We'll get right to you because I know you'll be busy up there at Lake Greenwood.
I'll be catfish. I'll tell you, I'll see your pictures of catfish going.
I want to see them. I want to see your catfish.
I ain't lying. I appreciate all y'all do, man. Hey, it's been a tough year for both teams. But hey, we're gonna be good. I appreciate all y'all do, brother.
You got to hang in there. Thank you, Tiger Brian. Thank you. You got to hang in there. Got to hang in there with them through the thick and the thin. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. This is from the 803. Dabo benefits off the fact that he plays in the ACC schedule with an SEC-type team. Let him beat a team with a pulse and then tell me how he is handling the portal. And a follow-up, even if you want to discount the 73-yard run by Fuller, Carolina still rushed for an additional 130 yards. They got the running game going the other night. Yeah, I mean, the running game has bounced back the last couple of games, which is another reason I was surprised that they made the move that they made. Be right back.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening, a low of 57. If you're enjoying today, you'll love tomorrow. It's a clone of today. Plentiful sunshine to go with a high temperature of 80. In fact, lots of sun the rest of the work week with highs in the upper 70s, nighttime lows in the 50s. Our next rain looks like late Sunday afternoon and evening, a 40% chance we get some showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
The leaves are turning. The days are shortening, and the air is cooling. The call of the hunt, getting your gear together, and the walk to the stand are just the beginning of your next great hunting story. Palmetto State Armory is here to help get you prepared for this year's adventures. Top brands, trusted gear, unbeatable prices, and knowledgeable staff. Palmetto State Armory has everything you need to write your next story today.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Inflation worries have the Fed chairman considering lower interest rates. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says a sharp slowdown in hiring poses a growing risk to the U.S. economy. In his words, the outlook for employment and inflation does not appear to have changed much since the September meeting. Those comments suggest the Fed may cut its key interest rates twice more this year. The Israeli Prime Minister's office has confirmed authorities received the remains of 4 more dead hostages. It said late today that the Red Cross handed the bodies over to Israeli forces inside of Gaza. The transfer came a day after the bodies of 4 other dead hostages were returned to Israel. President Trump has threatened to withdraw assistance from Argentina if its internal politics don't go the right direction. The president says if President Milei is not elected again, the money will not be sent. This is SRN News.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington. Greg Lynette and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues. Just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington.
Step into summer with no unwanted guests in your home.
At Modern Exterminating Company, we're not just experts in pest control, we're your neighbors.
Glenn and Melanie Matthews here. Modern Exterminating has been part of this community since 1955, offering unmatched experience with the family touch.
Trust us to keep your home pest-free with care and dedication that only a local family-owned business can provide.
Experience the Modern Exterminating difference. Call us at 765-2315 or visit pestfreesc.com.
Let us keep your home truly yours.
Hey y'all, this is Ted at Flight Deck Restaurant. We at Flight Deck Restaurant would like to honor those that sacrifice so much for our community. We are now offering 20% discount to all law enforcement officers, first responders, active duty military, hospital workers, ministers, chaplains, rabbis, and priests will receive 20% off your meal for all those that serve. Flight Deck Restaurant wants to thank you for all that you do to keep us safe, healthy, and free. Just show your ID and enjoy a great meal for 20% off. Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
This is Fran Halloran, the Money Coach. Grow with the point as we build on 10 incredible years of community local radio. We've built an environment where our listeners are our family. Are you a small business with big dreams? Join the tremendous stable of advertising partners at The Point. Connect with Kevin Cohen and brainstorm a tailored strategy to escalate your business growth using the powerful platform of The Point. Call Kev directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, you can make the next year your best year.
All right, time to talk NASCAR. On this Tuesday night, we welcome in the president of Darlington Raceway, Josh Harris, to Sports Talk once again. Okay, so the old man, Denny Hamlin, punches his ticket to the Championship 4. Interesting race. A lot of stuff going on late in the race, and then Hamlin kicks it into gear and just kind of blows by everybody. What'd you see there over the last 10 or 15 laps?
Yeah, I mean, literally and figuratively, it looks like Denny found another gear with those last 10 laps. And, I thought earlier in that last stage when he came in and had a little bit of a mishap on his pit stop, they were a little slow on the right front tire. And he came out, cycled out, well behind the leaders, 7th or 8th place. I thought, man, there was his chance. He's gonna miss out on this opportunity to lock himself in. But sure enough, we get another kind of late race caution there, unfortunately taking William Byron out, and then restart having issues. And Denny was able to put himself in position, and I think he drove the hardest 10 laps of his career to chase those guys down, and ultimately get by Chase Briscoe, get by Kyle Larson, and secure his spot in the Championship 4.
So that's 60 career wins for him. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer with or without a championship. He's got to know that his window is closing as a driver. He's so involved from an ownership standpoint with things as well, the other team. Do you feel like do you feel like he feels the pressure to win it this time in the championship race since he's already in? How do you think he'll approach that particular? How will they handle the next couple of weeks, including Talladega this week, but then getting to that championship race? How do you think he'll handle that?
Well, I think I think he certainly feels like his windows of opportunity for a championship are getting fewer and fewer. Primarily because he's not going to race forever. He's probably not going to race more than another 2 or 3 seasons if I had to just speculate based on his contract status and things he said. So I think he realizes that this was a great opportunity before going to Talladega, which can be a wild card, to try and secure that win. And obviously he had speed. He sat on the pole. And now he's got a series leading 6 wins. So, while that window of opportunity may be closing, I don't think it's because he's running out of talent. He might be doing some of the best driving of his career right now, with 6 wins, 60 overall, now tied in the top 10 career Cup Series wins with Kevin Harvick. And he's 3 behind Kyle Busch, so there's an opportunity there to move up. Maybe not this season, but certainly next season.
Josh Harris, president of Darlington Raceway, with us on his Tuesday night visit. And for Hamlin to win, it was a gutsy call by his crew chief, I thought, Josh, to go with 4 tires on that final money stop, whereas his teammates, Chase Briscoe, sitting out in front of him, just took 2 tires. Obviously, it paid off for Denny Hamlin, but when you know one of your other teammates is doing something different strategy-wise, how difficult is it not to be influenced by what he was doing?
Yeah, I mean, these crew chiefs have to make tough calls, and especially in these end-of-race situations. I think one of the things that I'm glad that it worked out the way it did, because Chase Briscoe, he did what he needed to do to give himself a chance by taking 2 tires. Joey Logano went from, outside the top 10 to restarting second or third by taking 2 tires, which is a strategy you can employ. But Goodyear has done such a good job here in the latter half of this year of bringing tires to the track that wear. So you might get that increase in track position initially, but you got to be able to hold on. So to me, it was a great strategy on both sides, but Denny ultimately had to make those 4 tires work. I'm sure he was a little nervous coming out, knowing, track position means a lot in the Cup Series, and it's hard to pass. But I think Kyle Larson even had a comment, I read today or yesterday about, Denny seemed to have reached down and found another gear and found something and drove harder than Kyle even thought he could to make those moves to pass those cars and get himself in the lead.
Josh, on Wednesday of last week, this is not directly influenced by the Las Vegas result, but NASCAR announcing that it's going to change and increase the horsepower for tracks 1.5 miles or less, and then the road courses. That obviously affects Darlington. So going up to 750 horsepower, I have no idea what that means in terms of miles per hour, but how do you think it's going to affect the racing at Darlington into next year?
Well, I think, as NASCAR said, it's a step in the right direction. A lot of the fan base, a lot of the teams, drivers have asked NASCAR to go back and increase horsepower. And I think that, combined with the strides that Goodyear has made on making tires that wear, I don't know how much, probably, a couple of miles per hour will impact on the speed, but I think more than anything it will maybe make the cars a little more challenging to drive, a little bit higher speed, a little bit off throttle time in the corners rather than being on the gas all the way through, which I don't think anyway, but some of the tracks. And I really think it'll help get us going in the right direction towards improving the racing on the short tracks, some of the intermediate mile tracks. So I look at it as a good first step. I don't think it's the end goal for horsepower within the series, but they're going to take small steps at a time to see how the cars hold up from a reliability standpoint. Every time you increase horsepower, it has impacts on the other components of the car, and they want to make sure that they don't put the drivers and the teams in a negative situation by making this change that hopefully is a positive.
So Justin Haley is out at the end of the season at Spire Motorsports. What kind of silly season are we going to have with driver changes? Is it going to be wild? Is it going to be somewhat in the middle, maybe a little calmer? What do you foresee there?
I think it's going to be pretty calm. It was already announced earlier this year that Daniel Suarez was going to be leaving Trackhouse, and then they announced Connor Zilich was joining their team. That was obviously a change. There's been some other smaller movements, but I think a lot of drivers got locked into multi-year contracts at the end of last year or the year before, so there's not as many opportunities. Certainly hate to see it for Justin. He's been a big part of the Spire Motorsports team since they formed several years back, got their first win in Daytona back in 2019, I think, in the summer race. And it just didn't work this time around. And while they didn't make any announcements, Spire did today, there's, thought that maybe they pick up Daniel Suarez with him being a free agent. So outside of that, I don't foresee many other, especially big name changes. I think everyone's pretty locked in. The only thing that is a possibility out there is, depending on how this lawsuit ends up going, there have been reports that, if 2311 is not a chartered team, then does that open up opportunities for a Tyler Reddick and a Bubba Wallace to explore other opportunities? And while that may be the case, if that's ultimately what happens, I don't know if there's rides out there for them to secure in a short amount of time. So long way of saying I don't think there's going to be a whole lot more coming down the line, but you really just never know.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, as always, we appreciate it. Have yourself a great rest of the week. Big race at Talladega this week. We'll talk about it with you next week, and we appreciate your time as always.
Yeah, I love coming on every week. We're winding down the season here. It's going to be a good one at Talladega this weekend, and we'll see who else locks themselves into the playoffs or into the championship.
Going to be fun to watch. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Okay, Josh Harris, the president of Darlington. I'll be driving by Talladega here in about an hour and a half, so
you ought to pull in.
I'll stop in, see what track conditions look like. I'll do a quick. I'm on Firestone. I'll do a quick Firestone tire test, and see how the rubber meets the road. All right, let's run to the break. I want to get to Lamont Paris after the break, and then a few recruiting notes as well. So we got that coming your way here on Sports Talk. In just a moment, we got Game 2 of the NLCS tonight. Dodgers and Brewers. What an amazing play made by the Brewers center fielder in last night's game against the Dodgers. Didn't win in the ball game. They still lost, but a heck of a play. Hopefully you got a chance to see it. We'll be right back.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Straight Up Sports is simply all sports all the time. Straight Up Sports is a collection of retired and award-winning sports writers and sports broadcasters from around South Carolina. Like Bob Gillespie from the State Newspaper, Scott Kiefer from the Greenville News, and Mark Sturgis from ESPN Upstate. Straight Up Sports is about the stories, just like the days gone by with no editors nor managers involved. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter or online at straightupsports.net.
Okay, thanks, Josh Harris, for being with us. We're here in Birmingham wrapping up SEC tip-off. Here is a little group conversation with the South Carolina media. This would be myself, an intern writer from the State Newspaper, and John Whittle from the Big Spur. So we were here, the three of us, for South Carolina men. The State also had a writer to cover the women. So that was it of the South Carolina contingent today. So a little group conversation with South Carolina men's coach. This was outside before he went into the main media room. Lamont Paris, our first chance really to talk with him here in the preseason. So here you go, a little Q&A.
So just your thoughts on the team getting put last in the SEC poll. I'm sure that doesn't match your expectations for everybody.
Don't really have a lot of thoughts on it. I mean, honestly, it's not a lot of stock that I put into it, regardless of what the pick is. So, not a whole lot of thoughts on it. I mean, if there's something that you can use to help motivate your guys, great. I think the only two ways you do that is if they pick you at the top or they pick you at the bottom. I think there's a narrative that you can create based on those two things. Anywhere in the middle, I mean, it's probably hard to make that case. But yeah, not a lot of overall thoughts, and I don't put a lot of stock in it. As you know, we've been picked last before, and so fortunately, you go throw the ball in the air and you tip it off, and then you play the games. And so we're preparing for the 18-game slate that we have in the SEC.
Have you gotten a sense of team personality yet? Thank you. You know how they played together, just kind of the overall vibe of the group.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities between this team. I hate to make comparisons, but there are a lot of similarities in this group and our group from 2 years ago, just in a lot of non-basketball ways, just in a way that these guys have interacted with one another. I mean, that's not something that we specifically try to manufacture. It happens pretty organically. I mean, we do a couple things here and there, but I just think they genuinely enjoy spending time with one another. And you know, now nobody's played a bunch of minutes and nobody's played no minutes yet. So we'll see what that looks like as we get there. But again, it's a group that genuinely seems to enjoy spending time with one another. It's a very hard-working group. I mean, just in terms of the hours that they spend in the gym outside of what we do with them, I've never seen a group that has, as by and large, has spent that much time. Our managers, I think, have even noticed that they just spend more time, extra time in the gym, and probably some of that stuff is forged in that time there, just seeing other guys in there going to work and spending extra time in the gym with one another. So I think that's encouraging. It's always good when that happens. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it is always nice when you have some organic chemistry just in the personalities and the connection that you have amongst your players.
Those of us on the outside, we don't have a clue what to expect from this team because it's practically brand new. How about those of you on the inside, though, as you put this thing together, do you have a pretty good feel of what this team's going to look like?
Generally speaking, yes, but there's still so much growth. We got some guys that are really growing at a really rapid rate in terms of learning some of the things that we're teaching, expectations in terms of how we want to play defensively, all those kind of things. But these are the things that I will say I think are fairly evident to our staff at this early stage is that we got a lot of guys that we feel comfortable putting into a game. I think it's a deep team so far. It's just guys that you thought maybe you weren't sure if they'd be ready or not. They've done enough things that it seems like they may be ready. So I'd say our overall depth could be a real strength for this team. And then from a skill standpoint, I think we have probably just a higher volume of guys that can both make a play, and then a higher volume of guys that can make a shot also, or are likely to make a shot, I should say. And so, whatever that looks like, maybe we'll average 85 a game. I don't know what that'll look like, but we do have more. I think, between foul trouble or injuries or sicknesses that seem to happen, it does seem like we're built in a way to be able to handle that a little bit better, just with our depth. And even guys that play poorly on any one given day, you don't have to ride that guy for 35 minutes. We got some other guys that you could put in there that potentially can make shots.
Just the narrative is there's so much new on this team, so many new guys, but that's happening everywhere now. I mean, it's not just a here thing. Everybody has that much roster turnover these days. What are the opportunities and challenges that come with that, and how have you had to adjust as a coach in terms of dealing with so much roster turnover?
Yeah, I think the challenges with having, so many new faces is that teaching is different. I said for the first time, the first official practice keeps getting bumped back and further and further, and it's earlier and earlier. And so, but for the first time I said, are there enough practices between the first practice and the first game this year? Because you have to teach everything to everyone. And that's really never been the case before, other than some outlying situations. You get a new coach late or whatever. But now you do. I mean, you used to be able to take 5 different things that were pretty bread and butter things, and you spend 1 or 2 days dusting off all 5 of those things, and then your older guys kind of say, oh yeah, that's how we did things and we're good. Well, you did those 5 things in 2 days. Now you need 2 days for each one of those 5 things, and therein lies the difference in coaching now and coaching way back 4 years ago. And so there's some real challenges with that. You feel like you need to have longer practices, but at the same time you probably have collectively a group of young people that are less likely to be engaged for longer periods of time. I think everyone would agree with that. And so there are your challenges. You have to try to be as efficient as you can at practice and be as effective as you can at getting information through, and that's one of the biggest things. We're only evaluating growth for returning players, right? You have a base foundation of what any particular player is capable of. You've seen over the summer what it looks like day to day, and then you kind of have gauged the growth by the time the first game happens and your expectations. Now you don't. It's such a small window of growth, so it's kind of like still trying to figure out what this new player even does. And then so when he does something different, is that growth, or has he already been able to do that but he just never did that? It's just a lot of challenges with that, but it's the new landscape, so I think you have to just adapt to it. I think that's why we really have tried to make a concerted effort to get guys that we feel are really coachable and want to get better and believe that we are the staff and that I am the coach to help them get better. Because if they don't believe that, what are they doing here? They're not going to listen the way that they need to. They're not going to try things that are uncomfortable for them, that you believe and know help winning happen for your system. And so I think recruiting, trying to do that in the recruiting is as valuable as it ever has been. The problem is with transfers in particular, it's such a small recruiting. I used to recruit guys for a couple of years. I look at Eli Ellis and how long he's been committed to us. And then you get a guy like Elijah Strong, and that whole process feels like it happened overnight. So it's just, it's part of it. It's we're here for challenges. Challenges are good. I mean, I think they make you adapt, they make you think, they make you, challenges are good for growth.
Do you expect to experiment with your lineups in the non-conference part of your schedule, run different guys out there for a different look at them, or do you want to settle on a top 5 or 6 or 7 rotation?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I think I'd like to settle on I hate to use the word hierarchy. That's the wrong word, but just a rotation. I think I'd like to get it to where, okay, this individual has consistently beaten out that individual, and so this is kind of the order in which these guys would be at our disposal. I do think that that's important to get to that. Again, we've got double figures guys. And if you look at our teams that have been good, 2 years ago we had 10 guys play double figures minutes. My last year at Chattanooga, we had a tremendous team. We had 10 guys play double figures minutes. I like that. I like the variety. I like the fact that guys can play harder when you have that kind of depth. And so I think it builds more of a team camaraderie when you don't have only 7 guys now out of 15 or 8 guys out of 15 that are going to be involved in the games consistently. So I think that's it. But we're learning these guys. We're trying to get. We are making a lot of, and we will use some of those early games just to figure out who plays best with whom. This is the best group to start. These are the best next rotations, and then hopefully as you get through a certain amount of games, you do get settled into that, because I think there's some real value in not trying to figure that stuff out still in January, because one guy all of a sudden is playing a little bit better than another guy. So we will use some of those games in an attempt to get just some of that rotation overall figured out. But I do anticipate playing a lot of guys.
You like that, don't you? That's called being out in the action.
I thought it was nice of the SEC to let you guys interview Coach Paris in a loading dock.
It was out in the entry area there where they were dropping off the players. Those were the buses. Hey, quick, this little note on Oklahoma. Their starting tackle, Derek Simmons, listed as day-to-day. He was rolled up on during the Texas game, so that's something to keep an eye on this week moving forward. Okay, that'll do it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.
WQXL